So what should hands, please? Pandas. Hands. Yeah, let's do some hands. We can do some hands and we can do some animals and stuff like that too, I guess. So hands, 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 hands. Let's draw some hands so you guys know that I can draw hands. That is a big component normally when it comes down to learning from someone. You got to understand that they actually know what they're talking about. So let's demonstrate that I know what I'm doing so you guys can trust me and therefore want to actually learn from me. Bam! So we can draw hands in a lot of different ways, right? But the easiest way for me is the way that I have been teaching you guys over the last couple weeks. And that is the lollipop approach to hands. The lollipop approach takes into consideration one single element in your arm that connects to your hand, and that is the top of your wrist. Regardless of how your arm is positioned, what you are looking for at this point is the top part of your wrist. Here's the hair for your wrist. This point right here, and I draw it on my hand all the time, so I always have ink on my hand. So this point right here is going to be the middle of your wrist. That one is going to go down up until your middle knuckle. Your middle knuckle is inside of your palm. So keep that in mind. That's going to connect directly to that. So whenever you are drawing your hands, find that and then just draw a straight line, depending on how long you want your palm, into a lollipop, which is your knuckle. So once you understand where the knuckle is, well, the knuckle gives you a lot of information. Your knuckle is not only the width of your finger, but it's also the width of your hand. So it's the top and the bottom of your hand. So if you have this be the top, the bottom of your hand, and the width of your fingers, all you got to do is indicate where your fingers are going to come out from. Right? And then the rest of this is the top and the bottom of the hand. Now, you just have to draw the other knuckles. So when you're looking with your hand going forward towards yourself, your your thumb side is inside. So we have one more knuckle towards your thumb, two more knuckles towards your pinky. They can be positioned in very different places. Doesn't have to be standard. And then we just connect the top of the ridge, and then we connect this. Now we have the top and the bottom of our hand for the entirety of our hand. Our fingers can go into different directions because each finger is very mobile and each one can have its own little perspective points. You can gather them together if you want, but it's not necessary to draw them together. And then your palm or your thumb is going to come about halfway up your hand, and it's going to go into three parts: your base, your stick, and your tip. That resembles like a stick shift car thing. Okay, so you're going to go your base, the bone, and the tip. In this case, it's a little bit behind, so I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow so it looks like it's pushed back into the distance. And then we have a whole hand. So this works in a lot of different positions. So the reason that I like doing it like this is because I hate drawing hands in a box or with a little curvy part. Like these type of hands, they work and they're good, but they tend to be very staticky, right? They end up giving you like a very single like position type of hands. So you end up with really boxy hands. Even like when you do like knuckles and stuff like that, like closed fist, you end up with something very, very boxy. When you do it like I told you, even though it's the same concept, you're taking into consideration your middle knuckle, and then you can shift the other knuckles a little bit because none of your knuckles are ever going to be the same size. And then your fingers extrude from here a little bit. So sometimes you have a finger sticking out a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, right? Your thumb comes from the middle up. And if you draw through your shape, it's easy to draw something like a thumb. You also have an indication of where your knuckles are going to be pointing. If you want to add more realism to this later, you're going to have the knuckle placement, so you can add your little ridges, right? Like, depending on your level of understanding of anatomy, you're going to be able to draw more extensive things. So that is my approach to hands. You draw your wrist, the top of your wrist, a lollipop to the middle knuckle, then one knuckle to your thumb side, two knuckles to your pinky side, and then split it in half to create your thumb. And that gives you a nice hand in a lot of different positions. Like, you can curve your hand if you want. So you have your wrist right here. You have your middle knuckle. Let's say I want one of my fingers up here, like for my thumb side. And then I have my other ones here, and then, I don't know, here. Let's see if that actually looks right. So this would be essentially the shape of the palm of my hand. So we would have maybe a thumb coming out right here. Oh, look at that. It actually doesn't look like it's not completely broken, even though we pushed it to the extremes. It still looks relatively like a Spider-Man pose or something. So this is pushing it to the extreme, of course, but if you can actually you can do just simple ones, like the princess ones are super easy, right? So you just combine the two middle fingers, and since you already have those, it's easy for you to draw that. Most of the time, you're not going to have extreme poses like this. They're going to be relatively simple. So this approach is actually quite easy, especially also if you set an initial shape. If you set an initial shape, you can just draw your knuckles inside. Know that you have one to your thumb side, two to your pinky, and then draw your hands like that as well. So being able to work backwards and forwards with your hands is very important. This can also be the top or the bottom of the hand. So it's either or, right? So the top and the bottom are spaced the same way. So this could have been the top, this could have been the bottom. The only difference is that the top and the bottom is that when you look at it from the bottom, your knuckle line creates this little bumpy part. That's your knuckles. Then you have your little like patty parts for your thumb and for your pinky. And then you have your fingers. So the only difference from the top and the bottom is that you add these little patty parts. No, you can choose. You sing a little song. Let's see. Hold on. All right. I'll sing you guys a little song. To draw the hands, first you gotta know. You draw the wrist, and then you have a hole. And then from this hole, you find this little dot. This little dot goes up into a little lollipop. Then from here, to find the rest, you find one to your thumb, you add two to your pinky, and you close up that shape gone. And then you draw your fingers going out like cylinders in different directions. And then you get your hand. Ta-da! There you go. Ta-da, ta-da, bravo, 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 thank you. Thank you very much, thank you. Thank you very much. I told you guys I was going to sing today. Could you draw the BF? What's a BF? Taking a bow. And then I'm going to make myself on a stage. And then I'm going to make you guys cheering. Yay! Go Rod! And then I'm going to give myself a spotlight. And I'm going to be in a stadium because I feel really cool today. And then someone's going to have thrown their panties on stage. And then some boxers because I don't discriminate. Please teach us how to draw and construct the full body from differences between male and females. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys really quickly how to draw a male and a female body, and it's going to be very similar. First, you start with the rib cage. Boom, a rib cage is just a little sphere with a little tiny little thingy in the middle, like that. So the difference between men and women tends to come in the hip area. So for men, your hip bones are literally just like a little cylinder. Take a cylinder and then curve those lines in. That's it. That's your hip bone. That's literally the perfect little easy shape for a hip bone, right? If you want to make these wider, to make a wider hip bone, you can make them bigger and wider and connect them, right? Your legs are going to come out from here, and your bone tends to go in this shape. It goes out from your hip, and then it curves back into your kneecap. But you normally simplify it by connecting whatever type of shape you want to these 2 points. So the leg that comes out from there just has to match that point back, right? You don't have to learn how to draw a majestic photorealistic leg to be able to draw legs properly. You don't have to add all the muscles and structure to it. You just have to know how to draw it coming out of the right place. Okay? If you draw it coming out of the right place, it's going to look fine. It might not look perfect, but it's going to look fine. So understanding that your leg connects here, and then it's your butt muscle in the back, by the way. That's what I'm drawing there. But you have your legs connect to your hip bone. Now, if you have your rib cage about the same size as your hips, well, you don't end up with a lot of hourglass shape, right? You don't end up with a lot of, like curvature here. So this tends to be a more masculine way of approaching it. Now, you can eliminate the curvature completely and just draw more direct shapes like this. And you end up with a more like bulky body structure, like a more superhero or like bouncer type of structure, because the shape on top is bigger than the shape in the bottom. So as you go, and there's no taper right here, right? So as you get into a bigger hip, you end up with a natural progression to those big hips that you guys like to draw. Now, this area, you guys have complained that not everybody has a thigh gap. Okay, well, if you don't want a thigh gap, just increase the volume there, and you connect the thighs. It's the same thing, it's just more volume. You can eliminate the thigh gap if you want. It's just there to show the connection points. But it's not something that is absolutely necessary in your drawings. So little comments like that, like not everybody, yes, I get it. And that is where stylization and like preference comes in with your styles. So I get it. Not everybody has that. Not everybody does that. But we don't teach that in that way. We don't teach in exceptions unless we're actually going into those sort of scenarios. We teach in like generalities, because as an illustrator, I have to know how to identify a character having nice big hips and a hourglass body, or a person that's going to be more, like bulky. So my shapes end up being something like this, or something along the lines of this. So, and then you can play around with different shapes to get a bunch of different types of like body types. Like, you are not limited by anything. Like no one can tell you you can't try a different body style. So it's just a matter of understanding the different shapes for your basic elements and just knowing where things connect on them, right? Knowing that your hips are going to be slightly angled will always give you a nice proper, like if you have your hips coming in from holes like this is essentially representing what the actual bone is, right? Which is your pelvic bone that kind of has this sort of shape, right? Then you have your hip bones coming out of here and then they curve back down. So your legs are not just straight lines. They're lines that have curvature, and then your leg muscles get wrapped around those, creating your legs. Right? You end up with volume getting added to these things, and therefore being able to draw your legs like you want to. But it gets simplified a lot if you just draw angled lines. Just connect that to that. So yeah, it's like once you understand some basic concepts of the rib cage and the hip bones, and it is actually relatively simple to get there. Like it is relatively simple to learn it. But you got to understand that you might have to unlearn a lot of the shit that you learned from, like your previous lessons. Like I find myself having to unlearn a lot of the things that I learned because it just doesn't make sense to me, right? So I had to unlearn so I could relearn the proper way for me. And it ended up just being like seeing things like this, like I'm showing you guys, just helped me out immensely. And I saw like my second breath of life into my art career by actually doing it right the first time or the second time. Like actually taking the time to learn the foundations, learn what I was drawing, learn the shapes, dynamics, flow, contrast, color theory, perspective, all that stuff, because now it actually matters to me, right? Now it's not boring because now it's just going to help my stuff be better. Before, I just wanted to have something, I just want my own style. I just want my own style. What am I ever going to do? I can't find my style. Dude, your style only comes from your knowledge plus your imagination. So it's whatever amount of things you've drawn that you like and balanced against your ability to actually comprehend basic terms like perspective and anatomy. And that is what leads you to understand your style. And even though you might not like your style, it's your style. Right? Your level of understanding might not be where you want it. So your style might not be as refined as you wish it was. But it's your style. So you just have to learn more, practice more, so that your style can go from something like, happy faces or whatever, and slowly progress to a more defined style based on something that you like, based on something that you understand, something you want to create. The look of your characters and your style is going to come from your knowledge and your understanding of things, right? If I break down this character into anatomy, I literally can, because my characters and the way that I develop my characters, I base them off actual anatomical shapes. Some people might not do that. Some people might do things like super loose and like cartoony, right? Well, something like this, even something like this is based on anatomical shapes. It might just be exaggerated in some parts, like the cheekbone here is gigantic, but it's based off anatomical shapes that can be traced back to an actual skeleton. Okay, so understanding what you're drawing is a huge component in actually, like, being able to stylize things properly. If you jump into style before you know this, that's why you're going to have problems like moving the face around. You're going to have problems rotating elements. You're going to have problems like creating different facial expressions because you're normally copying other people's ideas. You're copying without understanding. And even though you can get really far with that, it's going to come to a halt whenever you actually need to develop something for yourself. So you might develop like an amazing career, but then one day when they ask you, hey, I need you to develop your own actual concepts, you're going to freak out because you're not going to have that ability to do that. But you're going to have the credibility that you do. So you're going to be like, ah. And that was me. Again, I talk from experience. So don't be like me and actually listen to your teacher. Like people that have a problem with the neck, that have problem like figuring out where to draw the body after you draw your heads, like if you're having issues knowing how to place your bodies in like fun ways, like overlapping or like looking down in perspective or anything like that. If you have an issue doing that, it's because you have an issue with basic perspective and you have not understood how to overlap basic shapes properly, right? Like if you can't do this, how can you possibly expect to draw something like a human body that is one of the most complex things that anyone can draw because it has so many curves and flats and stuff? So if you can't draw this, then how are you possibly going to draw this, right? So don't try to jump 10 steps ahead to get to where you want to be. You need to actually put the work in so that you can actually achieve what you're looking for. And guess what? No one said this was easy. Like I have never once in my videos or in any sort of video claimed that being an artist is easy. This is hard, right? This is not easy. If this was easy, anybody could do it. So if you do take the time to do it, you'll be able to. But if you don't take the time and you just expect everything to fall into place for you, I have a sore realization for you. Like you are not going to get that. Let's try to draw like a really cool pose. Trying to involve one that involves the shoulder. Draw myself all buff. Ha 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 ha. Oh man, I cannot wait for Comic-Con. At Comic-Con, I'm gonna dress up as Sexy Mario. So I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna dress up like. So I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna have my chest, my hip bones, my legs. I'm gonna be coming out of there. Give myself a nice little pose. Then, so what I'm gonna do, and please feel free to judge me all you want because it's gonna be incredibly fun for me. Like let me explain to you guys a little bit of background when it comes down to me in cosplay in general. So I dated a cosplay model for about 5 years. Then I just got a chance to experience what it was like to dress up like fun characters. And I was Bane from Batman because I was bald. And then I was Mario. And then I was some other thing. I forget what I was. I think it was like prison or something. But anyways, it was really, really fun. But I was out of shape. And I was like completely out of shape. Like I honestly could tell you, like I was just like probably the chubbiest and the biggest that I had ever been in my life. And I've always been mostly a fitness person. So I was like really sad about like not being able to dress up like the characters I wanted to look like, what I wanted. So I decided at one point that I was going to be Sexy Mario at one point. And that is going to involve a pretty interesting outfit. And at first I thought about making him like a stripper, right? Making myself look like, like the bow tie and the handcuff and the cuffs and stuff like that. But I opted for a different approach. I went with straight out of the shower Mario, and I'm going to have a little like towel that wraps around right around my waist. It's going to be relatively short. So I'm going to walk around in a towel that has Princess Peach on one side. And it has Bowsette on the other. And then in the back of the towel, let me draw out the back of my legs. I might have either one of those big boxes, like the question mark boxes. And that's going to be wrapped around. And then, yeah, I'm just going to go shirtless. And I have been working out quite a bit. So I'm going to be a little bit bigger than I have been before. So I get to feel good about myself a little bit. And I'm going to hunt down any Princess Peach that wants to take a picture with me. So I have a few tattoos. I have one on my chest in the shape of a spiral. I have my chest muscles. My abs will fall in between this little crevice of my chest up until mostly where my groin would be. I'm going to have my back lat muscles. They're not that big on me. And I have a little bit of love handles, I'm not going to lie. It's fine. It'll keep the towel up. And draw my back muscles a little. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I got my nipples. And then I'm going to be wearing some long socks. So I have my kneecap, have my shin, I have my calf that wraps around my shin, tucks behind my thigh. That's the easiest way to draw your shins. Those are easy as hell. Like, so many people complain about how hard it is to draw this part, right? It literally means thigh, a stick for your bone, for your ankle, to your foot. And then wrap the back of the calf, because this muscle goes around the back. So around this muscle, just wrap it and tuck it behind the thigh. So thigh, stick, tuck it behind the thigh. Boom. Now your calves are awesome and they're accurate. And when you bend them, you're going to know that it's just a stick, your foot, and then something inside. Boom. So hard. Oh, they're so hard to draw. Oh my God, they're so hard. No, they're not. So don't let other people tell you it's hard when it's not. So for my feetsies, I'm going to be wearing some Donkey Kong and Mario mixed socks with some slippers. Either the slippers, probably it'll be sandals probably. Sandals and socks, of course, to just annoy as many people as I can. Have my kneecap, have my socks, and I have my shoe. Now, I have an option too. One option is to carry around a big piece of PVC pipe, like a curved one, and then just carry it like a sword. So that I have something to hold on to. Right? A nice, huge piece of PVC pipe that curves around, kind of like a plumber's like thing would. Right? Just have a huge one, and then be able to carry around and pose with it and stuff like that. That was option number one. And option number two is just walking around with my little rubber ducky. And just like, oh yeah, I have Mario gloves too. So I bought myself some Mario gloves with the little stripes and everything. So it's going to be super fun. So I just got to flex all day long and take pictures with people. That is just so, it's going to be so fun. And then if I have the time and I can find someone to do it for me, I would love for someone to like draw like a bunch of like Mario tattoos on me. But I don't think I'll have someone to do that because I don't really have many people. But yeah, that's gonna be the case. It's gonna be Princess Peach, towel, and then sandals, socks, and that's how I'm gonna go to Comic-Con. I might actually get myself like a little Yoshi backpack so that I can carry like all my stuff. I don't know what Yoshi looks like, so I'm gonna draw Barney. I love you, you love me, we are me, 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 me. True. And listen to others saying it's difficult, but saying it was easy. First, well, no. The thing is, once you understand how it works, it's easy. So, if you have your kneecap, right, and you have your thigh to draw the calf, your ankle is literally a straight bone down, a straight up, just a straight cylinder. So that is an easy shape to draw, right? Like a cylinder is an easy shape to draw. So just follow one of these little circles and expand that circle back. And then connect it to the back of the thigh. That is how that easy it is to draw that. If you can draw a circle through a circle, you should be able to draw your calves. A cylinder, expand those cylinders because they're going around, and then just give it the shape that you need for your thigh. So why is that hard? It's like saying that drawing a cylinder is hard. Drawing a cylinder and expanding one of these little circles to just give yourself a curve shouldn't be too hard. And that's how your calf works. So that's why I say it's easy. Explore, do you mean the anatomy or the style? Like the anatomy is, I mean, it's not perfect. Like I'm not teaching you every single fiber of your leg, but I'm teaching you like the simple way to actually approach it. That might make sense to more people. It doesn't make sense to everybody, but I can't get that song out of my head now. And the thing is, the more adept you get at like realizing those little patterns of how it goes around, as you learn more anatomy, you're going to realize, what you're drawing. I'm teaching you a basic, simple way to understand it without having to go and explain how the ankle and how everything functions, right? I'm trying to explain it to you in a way that makes sense that you can go out and practice with. And it's just wrapping around the back of a cylinder, even for views that are from behind. Now it's not going to come out exactly like I'm drawing for you every time. I've done this for 20 years. Okay? What I'm drawing is from a lot of experience from actually drawing these a million quadrillion times in every single way, shape, or form that you can possibly imagine. So don't think that just because you can't draw them as simple or as easy as me right now, that you're not able to do that as well. It's just going to take you a little while more to be able to figure this stuff out. Okay? And then when you get good, you're going to be able to draw those without even needing to draw the lines anymore. Once you understand how things start moving within your shapes, it tends to be a catalyst for you to just understand that body part better. And that's regardless of what type of styling you choose to give it. Like, you can have it be like a little elephant for all you care about. Right? It's the same idea for animals, for humans. It's the same concept. Because muscles work very similar to most species. How long would it be on a normal human? On a normal human, what's a normal human? Is a person that is like this a normal human? Is a person like this a normal human? Is a person, I don't know, with a smaller head a normal human? Like, what do you mean? I'd call a normal human a person with 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso, and hip bones. That's what I call a normal human. The proportions that you choose for your drawings, that is going to be based on what styling you want to create. I could create something like this, or I could create a little chibi character. Right? It's the same processes apply to both, because everything is just a guideline to map out your anatomy, right? It's the same approach. It's just proportioned differently. So whenever you're thinking like, they're a normal human. No, there's no normal humans. It's just different proportions for your body parts, right? A person, and then whatever comes out from that is what you're going to get. Same thing for male and female. The only difference, as you guys can see clearly, is the fact that the hip bones are a little bit wider on females, and therefore it gives you an hourglass shape. You add in breasts, and then you have the complete package. Okay? And they don't have to be that big. They just have to be there. And you end up with a more feminine shape. So that is essentially the approach you need to take for body parts. Like, you can't think, male or female. No, just stop thinking like that. That's ignorant. That's ignorant. There's no such thing as like a male mouth or a female mouth. It just means a mouth with more lips or a mouth with less lips. That's normally what it tends to be the case. Right? You have mouths with lips, mouth without lips, mouths with little lips, and no bottom lip. Like, it's all subjective. These can all be male or female characters. It doesn't matter. You just need to learn proportions so you can do it better. Clothing. I don't know if we have enough space for clothing. And we are not going to go into a different page today because I've already streamed today and I'm just procrastinating from doing more work. So I just wanted to get on here and stream a little bit. So I'll do clothing and stuff like that again soon. That's probably going to be the focus for my next sketchbook anyways. I'm waiting for my Illo sketchbooks to come in. I'm supposed to get like a batch of them in so I can do like a little giveaway and I can actually like get back to drawing on my squared Illos. I like the Illos. The unique ones are really cool too, but being such a big format, it takes so long to fill up the page. It takes a long time to fill up these pages. And as you guys can see, these pages are relatively big, you know. But we manage. We do our best. Lots of little lessons within all these pages. Keep. Venmo. Who paid? What? I just got a payment from something, but I don't recognize the payment, so I don't know what that is. Yeah, lips are easy. Lips are easy, eyes are easy, because they all take into consideration just a sphere. Right? So understanding basic concepts like a circle inside of a circle are your best exercises that you guys can do, because these are the ones that give you all the details you need for all the cool things you guys want to learn how to draw. Learning how to draw a circle inside of a circle gives you 2 mapping points, which easily become things like the jaw, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the rib cage, the placement for the arms, the feet, the hands, the fingers, and anything with a cylinder or anything with a sphere can benefit from drawing through your shape. So, with that being said, I'm going to give you guys a couple exercises you guys can practice in order to get better at something like this. In order to become better at drawing and identifying the sides of a circle or a sphere, draw 2 circles. 1 circle for the general shape, 1 circle inside, and map these 2 points inside, connect them. Draw 2 circles, map 2 points, connect them. Connect them in different ways. Now go this way, see what happens. Right? Playing around with these concepts gives you the ability to later on take these elements that you're drawing and map out ears. You can map out your arms coming out of your body a little bit better. Okay, you're going to be able to slice your spheres to come up with your hip bones a little bit better. And therefore your legs as well. So those exercises are incredibly important when it comes down to actually progressing. If you want to progress, right? If you want to get better, this is the way that you go about it. If you want to just draw a little bit prettier, just focus on a style. But if you want to get better, you need to learn your foundations a little bit more. Because this is the only limitation that you have between just unleashing your imagination completely and not, or being stuck to just drawing the same things that other people have drawn before. Yeah. And that's fine too, I guess, if that's like your goal. But I have a feeling that it's not. So, with that being said, I am going to let you guys go. But before I go, I would like you guys to go outside and make someone's life a little bit better by making them smile or saying a joke. So go love a little. I want you guys to go outside and enjoy some sunlight or some nighttime adventuring, just a walk or something. Get out of your house and go live a little. I want you guys to watch a cool show or a fun movie, go hang out with friends or talk to someone, and laugh a little. And on top of everything, until the next time we meet, I want you guys to also go out and draw a lot. Take care, everybody.